Barrel racing is the fastest time around 3 barrels. So 2 turns to the right, 1 to the left, or 2 to the left, 1 to the right. The fastest run back across the timer wins the race. Hi, I'm Kappie Bryant. I'm a professional barrel racer. I'm 30 years old, not that I really want to admit that, but I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas originally, Texas transplant. I live right in the Decatur, Texas area. I've been running barrels. I probably learned how to ride a horse before I could tie my shoes. Actually started out riding English horses. My family doesn't have a big background in rodeo, but I just have always been on the farm or wanted to be involved with animals since I was little. And horses just kind of, they were my pull. So I actually started out riding English horses, hunter jumpers more than anything. So I rode super correct, all the things. It was more, a little bit slower than the event that I compete in now. But that's kind of what helped draw me to barrel racing, because I was the girl that rode all the English horses, and I actually, my very first play day I entered to run barrels was in an English saddle on my warm blood. And was the most confident person there. I couldn't believe that other people were in the Western saddles. I'm like, what do you hold on to? First time my mom put me in a Western saddle, I cried and told her that I couldn't feel my horse and that I was going to fall off and just to take the saddle because I was just going to ride bareback. Shortly after, started continuing going to play days. I did Little Britches associations, got more involved with the places I could go around me. I junior high school, college rodeo before I went pro. And I just wanted to go fast. I loved the adrenaline. I loved the people. I loved rodeos. I loved every bit of it. So quickly changed saddles. I decided to be kind of go down the rodeo trail more professionally whenever I was 18. I had just gotten into college, met a group of people that I really enjoyed being around, kind of got to learn some more, get my feet a little bit more wet, just because it was a big change kind of going from college rodeos to the pro rodeos. And that's kind of where I feel like you make the decision of, I'm either going to continue this or I'm going to go and get a job and get in the real world, things like that. I decided that I wanted to make a career out of this. I really enjoyed it, and I just felt like if God put it on my heart that that's where I was supposed to be, I was going to be there until that changed, or if it ever did. And it hasn't yet, which I'm very thankful for, but it's led me to meet some really, really phenomenal people. But where I decided to do it was I actually was in college, and Carol Wilson, she's won a ton in Canada, lived right outside of Stillwater, Oklahoma, where I rodeoed, and helped me a lot, kind of helped me get my feet wet. I've asked Lisa Lockhart a ton about all these things, and she's helped me a bunch with just trying to learn and do better and where to enter, how to enter. I mean, they both were just very instrumental in my career and kind of getting my foot in the door and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And I just kind of was able to get the right horses and meet the right people and continue on my way. So
we've got here a freestyle walker. I really have enjoyed this. It's been a very instrumental tool in young horses, rehabbing horses that might be a little bit sore, different things like that. We like to put some of the 2-year-olds on it before we ride them because I like to get their jitters out, just where it makes my life a little bit easier, where I call it their demons, but where we might not make the best decisions as soon as we get on, especially whenever the weather's changing and everything's feeling a little spicy. It comes in a lot of handy whenever it comes to that kind of stuff. Otherwise, really liked it for keeping horses in shape, pulling them out, things like that. Rope horses, horses that don't need rode every day, different things just to kind of keep them moving. It's basically like a treadmill that we would use at a gym, but for horses. We've got sand on the ground, so the sand keeps it really soft on their feet, and basically they just kind of walk, trot, pull them out, and move forward on it.
So I'm Kappie again. We're back. I like the 3S pads. This is what I run Pancakes in. I really like it because they make them in a 28-inch and he's not super big. So for those horses with a shorter back, I really like that they make this style available. It's a 3/4-inch thickness. And for Flo, who we're going to ride today, who's an upcoming futurity horse, this is an inch thick. It's another 3S, but it's a 30. So I just like that you can see the difference between the two here whenever we talk about the length of the pads. So this one's just a little bit shorter than your 30. So I like the variety that they offer and the quality of the pads, obviously. So aside from pads, the other thing that I really like, this is Robbie. I ride just about everything in a Robbie or a Shiloh. I feel like the quality is there. I mean, I love, it's good leather. Fit my horses phenomenally. They're not too heavy, not too light, very affordable. So whenever you're riding 10, 12 colts a day like we are, not only do you need a saddle that holds up, but you need one that can withstand some wear and tear, or if something does break, it's not going to break the bank to go back and have to replace it. So I really, really like, this is Pancake saddle. He made it for me. This is just a colt saddle, another colt saddle, but I really enjoyed his saddle so far, and I don't see myself changing. So, okay, so today I'm gonna ride Pancakes in this bit. This is a Carrie Kelly Milkman. It's a slow twist. I like it because of the port. It's a little bit wider. It's not too much. It's not super aggressive, but if he gets to running, I can kind of grab a hold of him. I like it because it keeps him super square in the turn. I like it for the big open outdoors where I just need a little bit more whoa. Kind of gets him on his butt and lets me bring him around while he's also staying super square in the turn. These are my favorite reins of all time. These are made by Renee Claire Bears, and you will not catch me running in anything but these. I mean, I've got a million pairs, but these are phenomenal reins. The weight, the feel, the fact that they're already broken in whenever you get them, I won't trade. This is another bit that I like on Pancakes. It's a Duke made by Troy Flaherty. It's a slow twist. The slow twist really fits my hands in the way that I like to ride pretty light, but have a little bit of pull there if they get to running a little bit too hard. Like I said, this bit allows him just to be a little bit freer. So say like my first round, I was super safe. I got the American, tried to keep him in the tracks. I ran him in this bit the first round. The second round, we needed to be fast and kind of top of the ground, things like that. This bit lets him kind of move out a little bit more versus getting him here. It still keeps him super square with a shank like this, but it doesn't have as much bite and kind of on his butt is what I needed to keep him in the ruts the first round. So I really, really like this for tighter pins or when I just really need to go and be fast. So what I like to do, it's a little bit different, is Flo. So she's a futurity horse. She's a 4-year-old, so she'll futurity as a 5-year-old this next year. And like the biggest difference between her and a finished horse is that I like to start them all in these O-rings. This is a Flaherty O-ring. Just a slow twist, and I like to just kind of keep them really correct, really round, very balanced, kind of confident in their footwork, things like that. So when I transition from an O-ring, I like to go to, I really have enjoyed these Sharon Hall bits. And this is new. Sharon actually, I talked to her at the beginning of the year this year, and I've gotten a handful of these, but I've loved the feel that they've given me so far. So almost every horse that I've got, I'd like to say that I have a wider bit variety, but I mean, there's a lot on the wall, but I feel like I really just use like 4. But I feel like bits are kind of like shoes. You just need a lot. You can't have too many. But anyways, I really like these Sharon bits. I've got them in different size shanks, and I'm excited to kind of go forward and try some more of them. But this is what we're going to ride Flo in today. So I rode the horse Smooth as Rico Suave in Tulsa at the American Central Regional Finals, and Pancake's kind of got a really cool story. I bought him as a 2-3-year-old, or I guess he was, 3-year-old, and he was very immature, is a good way to put it. I traded him for a really big, beautiful bay colt that I had and some cash, and they met us in a gas station parking lot to do this trade, and what was unloaded was a miniature pony that was covered in mud and not at all what I thought I ordered. So I was like, no, let's trade back. I'm not doing this. I mean, hair this long. Me and my best friend got him home and sticked him. And he's still, I mean, maybe 14-1 whenever his feet are a little bit long. But just honestly kind of looked like he was stunted a little bit. Like he just dirty, I felt really bad for him. So the mud and feces that was matted to his body, we actually went out in the middle, it was winter in Stephenville, and we were getting warm water and like having to work it out of his hair because it was pulling so bad. So anyways, I'm a little bit upset obviously about the trade, thinking I got skunked. Well, I continued to ride him, and I started rodeoing, and I took him with me, and I'd set my pop-ups up, and I'd work him in different arenas and things like that, and just kind of like rode him for the last 2 years. And then this year I decided that I was really going to start entering him with no exhibitions, no anything. My expectations were low. I just was proud. He was fun. He was tried every time I entered him. I had no idea that he was as fast as he is, or was gonna love the rodeos as much as he does. But he has been absolutely incredible. The horse has never said no. Thinks he's 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And aside from his athletic ability and try, this horse has done so much for me as a person. Truly came to me in a time that I needed to be happy. I needed something with like golden retriever energy, and he's been that. He has shown up ready to work. Has shown up just everything he wasn't supposed to be, and I'm just thankful that he has been. I could go out and be upset about him and whatever, and he shows up just happy, like ready to go, ready to rumble, ready to try. He's the horse that runs around his pasture bucking like you can't be in a bad mood around him. And I just, no matter what happens, I'm thankful for this horse and that he's in my life, and everything he's allowed me to do, and I'm just excited to have him and get to be a part of him. And it's crazy when God puts certain things in your life and picks certain horses for you, and I don't take any of it for granted. The biggest difference to me whenever I'm thinking about training a rodeo horse versus a futurity horse, and cut me some slack, 'cause this is my first year futurity, but the biggest differences that I've noticed, number one, are kind of the way that you send a horse, the way that you ride, ground types, the mentality of some of these horses. The biggest thing, like whenever I go in and I really try to start a futurity horse and want it to transition over to the rodeo world, I like to think of a square around my barrels, and I like them to be very correct. I want them to kind of like hang that back inside leg and keep their butt kind of driving up underneath them, but I want them pulling with their front end. So I don't like to pull on one. I don't want to kick on one too much. I really want them to like allow themselves to work. I want to be there and set them up to be able to go and do what they're capable of doing in the most correct and efficient way, to have really good fast footwork, but also to where they can stand up. And I think that goes far just in the prevention of injuries that could come. Ground types, if you're running somewhere wet, dry, big open outdoor, and just kind of learning how to be super confident in their body and their footwork. So I think that foundation is key, and the square trick has really worked for me, where I have 4 points around my barrel, and I'll ride each point keeping their body square and centered just between my hands and feet, and then I ask them to continue, go straight. Once that back foot hits that point, we continue on. But just very correct, honest body work is what I like, and I feel like that transitions over to the rodeo world really well whenever you do have ground that's wet and you have a horse that's going to go in and crawl, like those futurity horses that have never had to run on bad ground, slick ground. Say they get a new drag that day and it all changes, or super loud perf NFR, or you have a mesquite, a teeny tiny smaller per rodeo. I think that's huge, just because they can really concentrate and have those key foundations where if they panic, just like we do sometimes, those things are muscle memory. So it's easy for them. They know how to control their body. They're confident in their footwork. So whenever you do send them, that foundation is there, and you can send them, you can pull them, all that's there. So another thing that I kind of noticed going into the futurity world, this being my first year, was, and I mean, there are some, I'm not saying every horse, but rarely did you see the same horse win the average all year long back to back. So now whenever I train horses, I want to be able to do the same thing twice. I don't want to do it one time. I don't want to go in and be the fast time, second round, go hit a barrel. So I've really tried to instill that into my program with these young horses now, is making the same run, same moves consistently. And that, I think, has been key. I had one this year. She placed in both rounds of the BFA, and the average, I mean, it was phenomenal. Like, not ready to do this. She's bred like a pickup horse, and she truly just can do the same thing more than once back to back, and I think that's what gets you those average titles and things like that. Whereas rodeo mentality, that was kind of a little bit different for me, because like whenever you go in there and make runs, I mean, it's go for broke. Like, it is going fast. You adapt to what's happening in that run, but you full send. I mean, it is, you got to go fast. Everybody else is going fast. You don't have time to be safe and make those adjustments and slow down where you feel like you might need to win that average. This is, I mean, there are some rodeos that are on average, but this is one run and done. So, I mean, you full send. So you have to be super confident in that and kind of settle your mindset, change your mindset a little bit of how you ride and make those adjustments and learn to adapt. And I've really enjoyed, it's been really challenging, but I've really enjoyed the two and being able to kind of incorporate both. But I've appreciated the futurity world, and I'm starting to feel like I understand it a little bit more. So some of the things that I really look for confirmation wise, and there's going to be a lot of different answers to this in the barrel racing world, because I've seen horses that, I mean, literally look like spare parts put together, go and win rounds. But I've also seen the most put together horse I've ever seen go and kick butt. To me, like if I'm going to go and just look at a prospect, I'm going to look for something that's shorter backed, long underneath, a shorter pastern, something that has a little set in the hocks but not too much. And the reason I say that about the back and underneath is because to me, a shorter back, they can kind of get down and turn a little quicker. It's a little more compact, so you don't have that big long horse to really try and move around a barrel. They come together a little faster, but the long underneath part kind of helps them with their stride. The set in the hocks, just because I feel like sometimes horses that are a little bit too straight, they have a little bit of trouble soundness wise whenever we ask them to go and do this, but also kind of like getting on their butt to turn in a barrel. I look for something that's got a really good eye. Say eyes matter to me. I know that's wild. Top line is big important. I want something with a really good back, good knees, things like that. Just kind of like built right. But the most important thing that I say where all of that, to me, the most important thing where I say all that kind of will go out the window is try. A horse is either going to be really good at what they want to do because they love the person or they love their sport. I feel like a really great horse has to either love who they're doing it for and they try that hard for them, or they have to love what they're doing. So you've seen a lot of horses win with a lot of different jockeys, and I think those are the horses that truly love their sport. And then you've seen one horse win with one person, and I think that's not just because they like what they're doing, but they truly love the person they're doing it for. They've established that bond. So my main thing whenever I'm looking for a colt, or what'll make me kind of like pick and choose between the horses I'm going to go and compete on or take to the next level, is the horses that try. The horses that when I ask them to do something, they truly, I don't ever want to put them in a bad situation, but they don't ever stall up and quit. They try to figure out what I'm asking them to do. Even if they're frustrated, I'm frustrated, they go in and they attempt to do whatever it is that I might be asking them to do. That's huge to me, because I think that those are the horses that show up when you need them the most, or it's the 10th round at the NFR and you're tired and they're tired, but they try. Those are the ones I truly feel like honestly set every other horse apart, and if they don't quit me, I don't quit them. But that's kind of the main thing that I look for, aside from just your athletic ability and things like that. I mean, for example, like I was talking, Pancake's is 14-1, and that's, I mean, on a good day, that's his feet being a little bit long. But he has more try than, I mean, he's more try than any horse I've ever rode. He wants to win. He wants to be good, and I think that's truly why he is. So to me, to be a truly professional in the sport and a good barrel racer, there's a lot that separates good from great. But I feel like those things are showing up every day. You have to be driven. You have to want to really compete. You have to have a mindset of, even when you get knocked down, you can't fall back. You can't stay in that place. And I know a lot of people say that, but when I do, I mean, bear down, grit your teeth, and stay hooked. Like, don't ever be a victim, and don't have that much sympathy for yourself. Like, there's a fine line of giving yourself grace, but also going at them. I mean, swing as hard as you can, kind of thing. That's kind of how I've always stayed true to it, is get knocked down, I keep going. Like, reassess where you're at and do it smart. But also, like, don't stay in that place of, and I mean, that's kind of everything I feel like in life. If you're upset about something, you can't stay there. You have to move forward. You can't go backwards. So the mindset of barrel racing, to me, is a big part. Being able to adapt, make changes quickly, and not be constructive versus critical of yourself in a lot of different ways. fitness wise in the barrel racing, I think there's a ton of people that work out, and I agree with that. I do think that you need to be fit. It absolutely helps, but what's helped me the most is stretching, running, balance, doing as much core as I can. I am the first one to tell you I can't do a pull-up. I can't. I am the weakest link whenever it comes to this, but I do squat. I do a lot that has to do with my balance. It's almost similar in a way to some of the things that like a roughie will do. Because leaving a barrel, you don't want to cost your horse that extra time if you're late and your horse is trying to leave and you're pulling because you don't have those core muscles. So I think those are very important. I think balance, being able to maintain that certain kind of fitness at that level is very instrumental. I think another very important thing on what separates just your normal barrel racer from your, really, really good ones. I think a key thing that truly does that is feel in a horse. And I think that goes with any event, any horseman. I think some people really have to try to get that feel. Like, not everybody's born with it. You can learn it, but not everybody's born with it. Some are. And I think that that is huge in what we're doing. And a true feel for your horse, being able to adapt to those changes and kind of anticipate what you feel like they might do or how they're going to be and how you can help. Um, Especially on young horses, rodeo horses, if the ground's different, if it's muddy, rainy, whatever, big setups, the teeny tiny cat town, I think that feel and being truly present and there with your horse and knowing how they work, uh, that included with the way that your body works, I think that feel is so important in being able to truly be really, really good at the sport.